Hello, friends. In this story, the husband does not know what to do with his wife: forgive her and save the family, or kick her out in disgrace and get a divorce. What to do? Listen to this story, and you may have an answer. Let me begin by outlining the events that unfolded during the penultimate day of our family vacation, which took place a fortnight ago. My wife had just stepped out to escort our two young boys, both under the age of 7, to their grandparents' room, so that we could have some alone time to unwind. It was then that I picked up her cell phone to peruse through the pictures she had taken during our vacation. As I scrolled through the images, I accidentally scrolled up too far and stumbled upon some pictures of herself that she had sent me while I was away a few weeks prior. What caught my attention were the pictures that preceded her personal photos. To my shock, I discovered several pictures of another man, along with a couple of snapshots of his face. Upon her return 5 minutes later, I confronted my wife about the pictures I had stumbled upon in her gallery. She hastily dismissed them as unintentionally downloaded dirty videos while searching for other content. Deep down, I knew that her explanation was far from the truth, but since we had no access to the internet at our location, I was unable to verify her story or demand further explanations. The following day, we returned home, and that very evening, I requested that she show me the specific websites she was browsing that could have led to the automatic download of such pictures onto her phone. It was during this conversation that my wife revealed that the pictures were, in fact, of a man who had been corresponding with her best friend through a dirty chat. My wife had requested the pictures out of curiosity about the man with whom her friend was communicating. She admitted to enjoying that particular type of photo for her own personal satisfaction. Unfortunately, I had no means of verifying her claims, as her friend had resent the pictures to me, alleging that they had been sent via a long-deleted email and were no longer accessible. I was so consumed by confusion and despair that I found myself at a loss, unable to identify a single answer that felt remotely authentic. This happened on a Tuesday, 2 weeks ago. Fast forward to the following Tuesday, and I received an unexpected Facebook message imploring me to confront my wife, who had been at home for several days due to severe stomach pains. It appeared that her conscience had been gnawing away at her, as she was experiencing intense remorse about a man named Charles. The message did not contain any last name, so I had no idea who this Charles person was. As I was en route to the gym, my phone buzzed with this unexpected message. I immediately texted my wife, instructing her to provide me with answers when I returned home and to think very carefully about what she would say. Her response was that she already knew the answers and did not require any extra time to reflect. Upon my return, she disclosed that she had been corresponding with Charles since November, and that he was merely a friend with whom she spoke occasionally, as she was feeling bored. In the subsequent days, Charles reached out to me via email and shared their correspondence, with my wife's email addresses redacted. After some sleuthing, I discovered that she had been using one email for work and another on Yahoo. With access to her Yahoo account, I uncovered a trove of daily conversations that had escalated to declarations of love, explicit stories and images, and plans to meet and leave their respective spouses. Furthermore, he professed his unwavering love for her. In his emails to me, he portrayed her as being unstable but deeply infatuated with him. He also confided in me that she had confessed to having engaged in physical infidelity on a couple of occasions in the past, although she had only briefly alluded to it in 2 paragraphs, without naming the individuals involved. Based on her descriptions, I have a suspicion of who they might be. She has vehemently denied these allegations, admitting only to emotional infidelity but never physical infidelity in person, only through phone and email communication. As I try to make sense of her deceitful behavior, I find myself questioning the authenticity of her words. Can I trust her when she denies ever engaging in physical infidelity? She tried to justify a suspicious email by claiming that it was meant to make her seem more available to him. Despite her reassurances, I am going to get tested for STDs as a precautionary measure. Charles has left threatening voicemails for my wife and even made threats against his own family members. Upon reading his message that we would never forgive ourselves for the harm caused to his children, I immediately contacted the local authorities in his state. They responded promptly and were able to locate the man my wife had been communicating with. Following their intervention, we can now pursue a harassment suit and restraining order against him. It turns out that the name he provided and his place of employment were both false. While I acknowledge that emotional infidelity may have played a role in our situation, I am still grappling with the implications of my wife's actions. Despite my efforts to show her love and affection, I am struggling to understand how my wife could engage in emotional infidelity. I have always made it clear that she is my one and only love, expressing this sentiment through letters, cards, and gifts throughout our relationship. Rebuilding my trust in her seems like an insurmountable task, and I am unsure if I even want to try. While my children are a major factor in my decision, my love for her is also a significant consideration. I have spent countless hours reading through their correspondences, trying to make sense of what has transpired. I am unsure if my decision was the right one, but given the lies that my wife has told me, I find it difficult to trust her when she denies having genuine feelings for the other man. Rebuilding trust seems like an insurmountable task, and I am at a loss as to where to start. I am still undecided about whether I am willing to walk away from this marriage or not. This is the first time I have shared these events outside of my own thoughts, so I am uncertain how they might sound to others. I wanted to share most of the facts that I know. Even if they are half-truths, I feel lost and unsure of what to do next. I am seeking help wherever I can find it. How do I begin to trust again? How do I know if walking away is the right decision? I have 2 children whom I love more than anything, and a wife. Despite the anger and resentment I feel, I know that giving up on our marriage would be the easy way out. But is it the right choice? How much effort should I put into rebuilding our relationship? I've told her that it will take years of work before we can be in a good place again. And while she begs and insists that she wants to save our marriage, I am still unsure of what to do. My wife wants to save our marriage, but without trust, I worry that we will be back in the same situation in just 6 months. I am unsure how to address this issue, and I don't think anyone has the perfect answer. It is a complicated situation, and I am left questioning my own morality. Am I weak for wanting to work on the relationship? Or am I selfish for considering walking away? Regardless of how things play out, I am unsure of what it says about me as a person. Should I depart? Am I choosing the simpler path or the correct one? Should I allow for the issue to resolve itself? Her explanation is that she only desired Meyer's presence to keep Charles engaged in conversation. I am unable to perceive it as anything other than deceit, and I believe this is the most significant obstacle in rebuilding trust. This falsehood is one I cannot accept, regardless of her assurances that it never occurred. I suspect she believes we can overcome the emotional repercussions of Charles, but not the physical ones. If the allegations are accurate, upon learning that he had misrepresented himself, she became frightened and anxious. I expressed my disbelief at her recklessness in disclosing personal information without verifying the person's identity online. Although it may not be relevant, such carelessness could potentially harm any member of our family through identity theft or other means. Charles himself informed me about his background. He reached out to me after my wife informed him that she was ending things, and he believed that by informing me of their breakup timing, he could lure her to him. Presently, my wife is fiercely insisting that she did not engage in a physical affair and that STD testing is unnecessary. Owing to her untruthfulness and infidelity, I am now en route to another man to have my genitals checked. Despite this, she is still pleading with me to seek counseling or any means of reconciliation. I may require complete surveillance of her technological devices, while she is eager to know what else she can do to regain my trust. Apart from a lengthy 7-page letter she wrote, expressing her unwavering commitment to me, her desire to rebuild our marriage, and reiterating that there was no physical infidelity. She doesn't blame me for her emotional connection, claiming that I pushed her to it. Instead, she admits her own inability to realize that I was fulfilling this need for her. She consulted with a psychotherapist, who explained to her the fact that this was a long-standing problem for her. To be honest, everything about this situation is chaotic and incomprehensible. I am considering a hypothetical scenario where the roles are reversed and false accusations of past infidelity are made against me, to gauge if my wife genuinely wants to remain married. Although I am not being serious, I am still reeling from these events and have not yet organized my thoughts and emotions or devised a strategy for safeguarding myself. In addition to seeking legal counsel, I am feeling lost and bewildered by the efficacy of it all. We must have a significant amount of discussion to determine the best course of action. There is much arguing and coping that needs to be done before I arrive at any decision. My wife seems to be coming to terms with the harm she has caused both me and herself, but she doesn't comprehend how I will be able to forgive her, and I am unsure myself. If I do decide to forgive her, I will be taking my time to make that decision. I am seeking guidance from my support group, who know both of us well.